And if you are still planning to go to Mbombela on the 1st of June to watch the big final of the NetBank Cup between the holders, Orlando Pirates, as well as Mamelodi Sundowns, well, we've got news for you because tickets for that highly anticipated final are officially sold out. The tickets were released for sale yesterday afternoon, and it took just 24 hours for them to sell out, and the match will be played at the 43,500-seat Mbombela Stadium on the 1st of June. But you can always catch the final on SABC Sport if you cannot make it to Mbombela. Let's get straight then to it. The big story that I was telling you about, the now former president of the South African Football Players Union, Thulaganyo Gaoshubelwe, a former player, also is here with us following his sudden resignation as the leader of the union. It's caught many by a surprise there, and he is going to explain to us why he decided to step down after the great work that is done over the past few years. And we'll welcome the former president. I need to get used to saying that, former president. Thank you for joining us on Sports Live. Oh, I'm going to need you to unmute, President.
No, thank you. You say you forget this thing so quick.
Yeah.
Just a few days I've forgotten that you was mute and all that. But thank you so much. And let me just say hi to your viewers. And thank you for having us here.
Thanks, former president. I mean, I've described it as a shock resignation. Nobody saw this coming, especially because you announced it on Workers' Day. And usually on Workers' Day, we catch up with Safpu to find out how players are doing and all of that. But now we have to deal with the news of your resignation. What led to this?
Safpu, so you know that I've been with the organization for the past 20 years. And I think for the past 2 terms, I've had the opportunity to sit and discuss with the leadership that I had. But look, I've been with the organization for some time now. One has done, together with the leadership, a whole lot of work. And I thought that, each time we speak about things to say, yes, we believe that there must be continuity, but at the same time, you must be able to build an organization that would be able to run even without yourself. And I thought we had arrived at that particular point and the organization was ready to continue without Thulaganyo at the helm of that organization. But importantly, that there would have been other opportunities, that have come knocking. And I'd always said, look, I'm not yet ready because we are really building an empire here for the players. We are building an organization that we ensure that in a few years' time, it would be able to produce people that would lead South African football. That has always been the dream. And at this particular point, I thought that it was time for one to go so that we can then venture into other opportunities and see what else can be done.
And are you pleased with the state of Safpu and where you live it right now? Because there have been some groundbreaking achievements over the past few years, especially those bargaining agreements that you've signed with the PSL. Where would you say you leave the organization or the union?
So I can gladly say I'm leaving a very healthy organization. I leave Safpu that I signed about 2 collective bargaining agreements. You know that when you're a trade union movement, anyone's dream is to ensure that you sign a collective bargaining agreement. You agree on the bread and butter issues. For the first time in the history of the African footballer, we managed to have the dispute resolution chamber that is compliant. Previously, when players were dismissed or they had issues with their club, we relied on CCMA, we relied on the labor court and all that to address their issues. We made a commitment when we took over that we will establish a tribunal that will attend to the issues of the players. And indeed, we established such a tribunal. And we are very that we've achieved this. But we have not only done that. Today, when you speak of a vibrant league, of Premier Soccer League, you cannot speak of that league without necessarily mentioning Safpu there. Because Safpu has contributed immensely in ensuring that the rights of the players in this country are protected. And the players are able, without any fear, to enter into a contract, and that contract would know that it would be a fair contract, and the player can, at any given time, whether it's through just cause or anyhow, terminate their contract and move on. Now, if you have these rights guaranteed, which appear in the Constitution, especially in the Bill of Rights that have been accorded to the players, you can only look that with smile and happiness, Tabi, so to say, you have achieved quite a lot in doing that. There are, of course, things that we still believe that could have been done much better, as far as the professionalization probably of some of the, the clubs, professionalization, to ensure that the organization, as it were, when you look at the National First Division, you still need some resources being pumped out there. How do you then professionalize it? How do you ensure that you reduce the number of cases or contracts that are terminated on a yearly basis? And we believe the selling of clubs, those are some of the things that we have not really managed to cut, to ensure that clubs cannot just at any given time, maybe just, they sell, they buy and sell clubs. I mean, what comes to mind is the game of the club, Vets that had the history of about 99 years. And just one day you woke up and you did that. But we also understand there are quite a number of reasons that would have led to such things to happen.
Yes, and what many people are not aware is that the Safpu, you also offer bursaries to players to further their education. I know the likes of Dane Clayt have taken up those. Lizom Jempu is another one now who gave a testimony on social media about how Safpu helped him. Are players doing enough to take up these bursaries that you're offering while you were still in office?
So, a lot of players. I mean, you can talk of William Maris. We have produced advocates. We have, one player, the TV or the football analyst, Mpoma Ruping, who is with Yanga, Simba in Tanzania. Those are the people that we have contributed. And we strongly believe that the players are taking advantage of that. But we also want to challenge them to ensure that they empower themselves. I think what we needed to do at the time was to make sure that a footballer can still do what they do best, but also marry that with education, because without education, the player, after playing football, they would not go anywhere. And I think that we have done very well in that regard in terms of ensuring that the players do that. But the players can still do more and better. And in actual fact, this doesn't have to be only the Safpu responsibility. We would want to see the situation where even within the clubs players are, taken care of in terms of the education, and they are encouraged to go and study studies.
So what's next then for the former president of Safpu? You spoke about new opportunities here. Are you lost to football? What is next?
So I'm not lost to football. I have been in this game for quite a long time. And I think I'll still be here. I'm just taking a few weeks off. There are quite a number of discussions that are taking place, on the site. And at the appropriate time, we'll definitely do that. But as you would have known, my interest has always been on the African continent, Tabiso. And there's at the right time, we'll be able to pronounce and announce in terms of the work that's been done within the continent, and what is the direction that we'll be taking in ensuring that we're not only players in South Africa, but players all over the country, wherever they play, their rights are taken really care of. So we will be doing a whole lot of work around these particular things.
On that note, you also had a loud voice when it came to FIFPro, and there is a concern now that with you not being there at Safpu, maybe Safpu might lose that voice. Where do you leave this relationship between Safpu and FIFPro?
So I was fortunate to be made to have it happen that I'm the face of the organization, I'm the president of the organization. But behind me, there were men and women, who carried me. There's a team that I worked with. There's a team that will spend sleepless nights together, ensuring that the views of the organizations are expressed without any fear. And that I leave the organization that's able to do exactly that. I am convinced, so that the organization will continue advocating for the rights of the players on the continent. They will never depart from the principal stance that they always take when it comes to all these issues that speaks about the players' matters. They will, talk about the issues of whether it's racism, whether it's opportunities on the continent and so forth. They will be able to do that. If you build an organization, you must never at any given point build an organization and make yourself a center of that organization. We have brains there at that organization, and they'll be able to carry this organization forward. And in actual fact, I am more than even convinced that with what we have, they will bring some better ideas, better opportunities, and be very, very innovative as they are moving into the 4IR in doing things. For an example, they've got already created what we call the podcast. So they will have a podcast and they will sit there to say, so that the players themselves can tell their own stories. The players can have other opportunities. The players must not just sit and wait, to be analysts or just to go and become coaches. So we look at all those particular things that the players must own their home. They've got a home now. We've built a very beautiful home for themselves. At any given time, the players can go there, spend their times and weekend using the facility at the office, for their own personal growth, studies, and so forth. So it's very important. There are programs that they are currently engaging on, the programs that focus on issues of women. Of course, I believe that the organization has not done much when it comes to the empowerment of women. We don't have a lady in the executive of the organization, but I'm very, very hopeful that in the coming congress of this organization, they'll do the right thing. At least, if they say they have not done anything, you can have in actual fact, we're looking at 50-50 in terms of representation in that leadership. So we are leaving this organization in a very, very able hands, and I know that they will achieve the things they've said they will achieve.
Okay, wonderful. Former President of Safpu, Thulaganyo Gaoshubelwe, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight on Sports Live. He is also a former player, by the way, a man who's dedicated his life, even after his playing days, to the beautiful game of football, and we look forward to seeing then what the future holds for him. That's where we'll leave that discussion for now, but we'll continue after the break. We have Magesi FC coach Clinton Larson coming up after he took the side to the promised land, which is the DStv Premiership.